Hello, my loves. It's been a minute. As you're hopping on, say hello. If you're catching the replay, hashtag it replay. Let me know that you've been here. Tell me where you're watching from. Interact with us. I am just going to share this real fast into my group. And then we will get started. So let me share this. Hello. Hello, beautiful people. All right. That's been shared. How's everyone feeling? That's what we want to talk about. Watching from PA, Pennsylvania. Hello. Ooh, this is not very tight. Let me fix this real quick. I'm making sure I have my glasses so that I can read the comments and not be so freaking close. Hi, Salim. All right, that's better. Okay. Now we are live in all of the places. So tell me how you guys are feeling, because that's really what today I want to talk about. I didn't do a live energy update broadcast on Monday. I did do a written one, and I talked about how we have reached a new base frequency collectively. And that's permanent. Okay. So when I talk about new base frequencies, I want to kind of talk about what that means, and so that you understand, because yes, we still have influxes of light coming in. We've had plasma coming in. I've shared a little bit about that and the experiences that I had. And I kind of want to talk about that a little bit too. We'll see. But what it means to have a new base frequency collectively, it means the amount of light or AKA information that we are processing per hour. So when you think about that, we have, on average, we have 70,000 thoughts per day. Now that's going to be way higher now, because we're processing over 1,000 hours of information per hour now. So you're going to be processing lifetimes, timelines. You're going to be processing energy. So if you are not somebody who has learned to manage their energy, especially the highly sensitive, especially the empathic, if you have not learned or are practicing energy management, it's going to have difficult moments for you, because when we're processing so much more, we have to be able to be present more. We have to ground into our body more. We have to have better boundaries and be more aware. In fact, I just dropped a video in the portal for the portal members of my own experience and my own practice of my own teachings and some little tips for them. But at the end of the day, we just have to understand and have the realization that everything is energy. Light is energy. Light is information. And so if we have a new collective base frequency, that means that we all are processing way more light or information than we ever have before. We're talking 30 to 40%, depending on your level of awareness, more energy that your body is processing. So you're going to be exhausted if you're not processing it well, if you're not having good boundaries, if you have a lot to clear even, right? It could just be that you're processing so much more now, that you are clearing so much more now. And that's really important for us to understand. So for those of you who are exhausted and wiped out or sick, when you're processing 30 to 40% more light, or AKA information, what that means is whatever density is in your body and you have that much more light, that much more is coming up. Remember the analogy of the dimmer switch. If you clean your house and then someone hits that dimmer switch up a couple of notches, all the dirt that you didn't see before is now there. And you're like, shit, I thought I cleaned the house. And you're like, oh, there's just so much more that was already there. So when the light turns up collectively, we see more, we become more aware of the density inside of our being, and that has to clear. So if you're exhausted, if you're sick, you are clearing. You're clearing karma, you're clearing timelines, you're clearing your own programming, you're clearing any kind of density in your body, because ascension is a body experience. Ascension is your body going from carbon to crystalline, transmuting the density into light. And this new base frequency is permanent. And we're only going to go higher. We're only going to go higher. So each window of time between these frequency upgrades, which means the whole planet is evolving, right? The whole planet is in a fourth dimensional frequency now. Remember slow motion replay. So really the world is more advanced than that. And a lot of us are in five, living more consciously in the fifth dimension or sixth dimension or even seventh dimension. But the planet itself has physically manifested into the fourth dimension. And the fourth dimension is a slide between the third and the fifth. So things go really fast. We process way faster. We're on our way, right? And if you watched if you saw one of my other posts on Facebook when I was in the airport, I talked about how I was experiencing the world in the way that the guides call New Earth. And I was experiencing that for the first time. And I'm going to give you the best example of that before I go into the comments to see how you guys are feeling, that my guides have told me. And I consciously go between the fifth and seventh dimension. That's my base frequency is 741. And that is my base frequency. But I'm human. So I go dip down and up and, I sway and ebb and flow like everybody else. And I already see the world differently. I already see the world through rose-colored glasses most of the time. I already see the beauty. I already live in totality, which means I don't see negative and bad as negative and bad. I just see it as an experience. Living in totality is releasing the judgment of good or bad, because that's what good or bad is. It's a judgment. There is no good or bad. It's simply a judgment of experience. You judging whether something is good or bad feeling to you, because what feels bad to me may feel amazing to you. And what feels amazing to you may feel bad for me. So it's literally judgment. Good or bad is just judgment. So when we release judgment, we live in totality. And that's what it's like to live in New Earth. Is you can't live in New Earth, sustain New Earth, if you still hold judgment inside of your being. And judgment is different than opinion. Judgment means you are saying that something that's happening in the world or something that's happening in your reality or something that someone is doing means something about you or them. That's what a judgment is. It's defining. So when I was in the airport, I literally, the only way I can describe it that in human language is I realized, we talk about how the world is a game and the earth is a game and that this experience is a game and that it's all an illusion, because it is, it's a dream, right? When we're awake, we're really in the dream. And when we're asleep, we're really awake. It's always reversed, right? This is why we're in duality. And if any of this is over your head or too much for you to understand, just open your heart and take a breath and receive it. It's just a frequency. There's a frequency running underneath my words. And so just allow it to be received and not try to be in your head understanding it, okay? So I'm sitting in the airport and I look up and I realize, oh my God, I really am in a game. It was the most unreal experience, because what I witnessed was seeing how everybody was so robotic and so shut down, and how unaware everybody was, and how aware I was of myself and those other people. Now, I am somebody who has mastered over their life being the observer of the observed, meaning I can observe myself. I'm observing myself right now. I can see that there's a part of me who's watching me as I speak. And then I'm aware that I'm also speaking. I'm always the observer of myself. I've spent years mastering that. So I'm always aware when I'm aware, right? And that's what most people think enlightenment is anyway. But the truth is this was different. This was how the guides explain New Earth to me is this. And this is why I suggested that you guys go watch that movie, Free Guy, which I haven't even seen yet. I'm hoping to see it this weekend. And really listen to this, because this is the best experience. So as a medium, as a psychic medium, I can see people and hear people and feel people who aren't physically here, right? I can feel them and hear them and not always see them. Just as your loved ones cross over and you know they're there, but you can't see them. And it's not that they're up there or down there. They're always right next to you. The reason why you can't see them or feel them or hear them is because they're in a different frequency. They reside now. They let go of their human suit. They didn't die. They let go of their human suit. They let go of their density and transitioned into a completely different frequency. And unless you are someone who can access that frequency or stay in that frequency, you're not going to see them, hear them, or feel them. So when we as mediums feel and communicate and hear and see the other ones, it's because we're able to sustain that frequency and access them. That's New Earth. New Earth is us physical beings that are more now multidimensional, meaning we are able to hold and sustain the higher frequencies, are able to see the lower densities, right? Because our loved ones can still see us. They can still see all the mistakes that we're making. They can still see all the suffering. There's nothing for them to do. They're not there to fix the world. Our guides are not there to save us. They are there to hold space for us, to listen to us, and when we ask, to guide us. And that's what we are being asked to do as light workers, as way showers, those who are already sustaining the new frequencies and being someone like me who's standing up. And if you're not someone like me, you are still someone to somebody else. You're still ahead of someone to be that light for somebody else. We're not asked to fight against, to prove, to convince. We are there to be the light. We are there to hold the space. We are there to guide the way if they so choose. So they can't always see us. The lower people that are going to stay in third and fourth dimension aren't always going to be able to see us because we are going to be in a new frequency. They're not going to be able to see the beauty in the world. They're not going to be able to release judgment and hold compassion. They're not going to be able to do that. But we will still be able to see the density. We will still be able to see the darkness. We will still be able to see it, but our job shifts and becomes holding space for it. Holding space for those who are suffering, holding space for those who are judging, holding space for what's going on in the world because we have accepted what is. And even though we don't agree with what is, that non-agreement allows us to choose different. It allows us to lead with our light. It allows us to be the change. It allows us to be that beacon, that higher self that everyone else needs. And if they so choose, they will watch you. They will learn from you. If they're open enough, they will be able to sense you, to find your light. That is how the guides show New Earth. It means that we will still be able to see everything that we see now, but we will also be able to see the beauty, and we will also be able to see that all of it's happening for us, and we will also be able to release judgment. Because you cannot have compassion and judgment at the same time. They are opposites of each other. Compassion is understanding that wherever someone is, however someone's behaving, however they're acting, whatever they're feeling, is where they need to be, is what they need to do, is where their level of awareness, and that's where they belong. We're always right where we're supposed to be. Our job is not to convince. It is not to prove. It is not to fight. Because what you give your attention to becomes true. So if there's a food shortage in the world and you want to put your focus and attention on that, that's what's going to come true for you. But if you can instead focus on what you have, what's in front of you right now, the fact that you can grow your own food, that you can do this and that, what is in your power, then that will become true for you. If you focus on all the death and all the destruction and all the lack and all the inflation and all of the problems, then that is what becomes true for you. What you give your attention to becomes true. And this is why I'm always saying we have to stop fighting against what is. It's no longer about waking people up. It's about awakening the other lions. It's about awakening the other light workers. And this is why I'm teaching the energy matrix now. Because if you want to be able to sustain New Earth, you have to be able to manage your energy efficiently. And you've got to be able to at least trust yourself and feel safe inside of your being. And if you can do those two things, then you'll be able to awaken your extrasensory abilities and actually use them. Because if you just learn to rip your gifts open, everybody has them. I don't care who you are, you have extrasensory abilities. Or you wouldn't even have an intuition. You wouldn't even have a gut feeling. Because that basic gut feeling or gut knowing is your extrasensory ability. But most people don't open them or can't use them or can't see or can't hear or can't feel the way that I can because they're in fear of what they're going to see, what they're going to feel, what they're going to hear. These things that I'm going to be teaching in the energy matrix are the foundations of sustaining New Earth. So that's why I wanted to come on here today, was just to share those things with you guys of what I'm experiencing, what my guides are telling me, what I've been seeing, give you a better understanding of New Earth and really discuss what these new base frequencies are. Because I know I asked in my Facebook group yesterday, how's everybody feeling? And some people were feeling fabulous. 95% of this, I have been feeling on top of the world, blissful, peaceful, amazing. And I've had 3 deaths in 2 weeks. And I've had a lot of things coming at me to trigger me. And I've still 95% flowing with everything that's happening and just in the peace with it. That's a pretty good rate of return, if you ask me. But then a lot of people are feeling tired and thirsty and exhausted. And so I want to talk about some of those things. So let me put my glasses on so that I can see. So tell me how you guys are feeling. And we have a ton of comments, so let's go through these. Alexis says she's been feeling good since yesterday. But before then, she was feeling off balance and tired. Intuition increased. She feels like she's stepping into portals, been feeling very tired too. Lots of synchronicities. Yeah. All normal stuff. Meredith, I was hoping he would hop on. I guess the grocery store Meredith needs to hear me, huh? Feeling so tired, emotions, feelings are a bit off, heavy energy in my head, feeling exhausted in the mornings. Also not having an appetite. Yes, that is another very common symptom. Not having an appetite. You know, interestingly enough, the higher our frequency gets, the less solid food we will need and the less sleep we will need. But at night, my appetite goes into overdrive. That's because when it's not really your appetite. It could be, but for me, I notice that when I get that way at night, it's because I'm not grounded in my body. So when you find yourself getting the munchies and eating a lot, excessively, you know, or just having munchies, that is your body giving you an indication that you're not grounding. And so it brings in dense food to help ground it. And you can just you can choose to ground with food if you want, or you can actually ground using your breath or using going outside, things like that. Meredith has been sleeping on a selenite wand. So selenite is going to be more opening to you. Selenite is going to open your crown chakra. Yes, selenite will also clear your energy, but I would suggest that you guys, if you're going to listen to meditations or frequency music or sleep with crystals, that you're very You really listen to your intuition. So Meredith, if you're being guided to use selenite, then that's what I would use. But I would bring in some of the darker stones. You can use, I'm hearing citrine, which isn't really dark, but it's more solar plexus energy. Black tourmaline, carnelian, a lot of the richer, more grounding earth-based stones. And you can use that with selenite because the selenite will magnify any stone that it's around. So really think about those energies that are grounding and clearing. So like selenite and black tourmaline, selenite and bloodstone would be even really good. Selenite and carnelian, because a lot of what we're doing right now is clearing karmic density over the next 6 months. There's a lot of karmic density that's clearing, and that comes through our sacral. So just things to keep. Then the movie name again is Free Guy. It's actually only in theaters. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking. I'm not answering. Someone's asking what they're here to do. I'm not doing private readings right now, you guys. You guys can always go to my website, and the link's in the bio if you want to book a session with me. Or when I do, sometimes I do live readings on here for free. So you just have to watch. Feeling agitated and annoyed. Yep, that's pretty common. Not wanting to do much, no energy drain, shutting down emotionally. These are all normal things, you guys, to be experiencing right now. And that's why I wanted to talk about, if you're tired, what that means. If you're feeling sick, what that means. If you're agitated and frustrated, which is another thing that's coming up. I even had moments of agitation and frustration. And that's actually a good thing because it brings it up to the surface, and that you can use your tools to accept. And that's another thing. We have been programmed by these new age teachings, right? And a lot of spirituality to let go of everything. But the only thing we ever are releasing or letting go of is control. That's it. There is nothing else you are ever letting go of or releasing. That's it. It's only control. You are meant to accept what is. So you're meant to accept your anger. You're meant to accept your grief. You're meant to accept your sadness. You're meant to accept that you're exhausted. You're meant to accept that you're agitated. You're meant to accept what's happening in the world. Again, acceptance is not agreement. But you can't receive the solution. You cannot receive what's next until you accept. If I'm going to, and I don't have one, but if I was to hand you $100 bill, in order for you to receive that $100 bill, you would have to open your hand, which is letting go of control, and accept it. So stop focusing on letting go of your emotions or letting go of what's happening. Instead, accept what is and choose different. Accept where you are. Accept what you're feeling. Accept. I just can't say that enough. Accept, accept, accept. Meredith says she's had a cough for 6 weeks. That is not the C word. I sleep through the night without meds and no cough, but very thirsty. So the thirst is a sign that you are processing more information. This is why, for those of you that are drinking the black oxygen organics, the boo that I promote, I tell you that you don't need to drink excessive water for hydration. That's a program. That's not real. You need electrolytes for hydration. And that's what's in the black oxygen organics, one of the things. The reason why we need to drink a lot of water is because water is a conductor. It helps us to move the energy. And so if you're feeling extremely thirsty, drink as much water as you possibly can, because what that's telling you is your body's trying to move this energy through you and it's having trouble. So that is going to be a sign that you have a lot of energy to move, or that it's trying to move through you, trying to ground and anchor, and it needs help. And so you're going to feel thirsty, right? The same way, like when you are ungrounded, you could feel hungry, or you could feel the need to snack, or to need to constantly be busy, or to fidget, or to scroll incessantly on social media, whatever it is. It's because you're not grounded in your body. And that comes down to, do you feel safe to be in your body? Do you feel safe to be present? Do you feel safe to feel whatever is here? Because the truth is the reason why none of us feel safe, or most of us don't feel safe, and the reason why a lot of us disassociate or distract or numb or don't want to be in our body or don't want to be present, right? We're always in the future, coming up with the what ifs and trying to get a solution for that what if, is because we don't want to feel. We don't want to feel. That's why we do it. We're afraid to be present. We're afraid to feel. So the true thing comes is if you don't feel safe in your body, then you're not going to want to be grounded in your body. You're not going to want to pay attention and be present with what's in your body, because you don't want to feel, you don't feel safe to feel what's in your body, because you have probably repressed a lot of memories and a lot of things that you didn't want to deal with. And that's all got to come up at some point. And that's why a lot of us manifest terrible things that happen in our life, like getting sick. Sometimes people get really, really sick where they're bedridden sick, or they throw their back out, or they have something happen to where they're immobilized, because then they have no choice but to sit with their shit. So don't manifest that type of experience. Instead, allow yourself to feel. Because when you allow yourself to feel, when you just allow yourself to be, your heart to be open and vulnerable, that energy is going to move through you, right? It's like a river flowing. But when you don't want to feel something, or you want to resist something, or you're afraid of something, that's like walking upstream in the whitewater rapids. It's you turning around, getting out of the boat and going, I'm going to fucking walk up this, right? These rapids, feeling that water rushing at you, how much energy it drains, how exhausted you get so quickly because you are fighting against something. But if instead you're like, crap, I'm angry, crap, I feel sad, I'm just going to get in the boat and I'm going to ride this out and let it move through. Before you know it, you're downstream and you're back in the calm water again. But we have been programmed and trained and conditioned to fight against it. And again, what you pay attention to, what you give your attention to, is what becomes true. So again, do you want to focus on the fight in the world? Do you want to focus on what's going wrong in the world? Or do you want to give your attention to what's going right? Do you want to give your attention to where you're going? So again, let go with it. Don't fight against it. If you've read any kind of trauma books or any kind of personal development books, one of the common themes that you'll see through it is if you, especially when you do somatic work, which is what I do a lot of, right? In trauma work, I do a lot of body work, which is somatic healing. We understand that when we allow ourselves to feel an emotion completely, it's only going to last about 60 seconds. But the programming comes in from the human part of us, the generational programming that says life has to be hard. Nothing comes easy. So when we feel something for only a minute, our ego kicks in and says, oh, that can't be true. Let's bring up more of the story. Let's create more story around this. Let's make this bigger because this was too easy. It's too easy. The ego doesn't believe that things get to be easy because we've had centuries and generations of programming that life is hard, that you have to work hard, that nothing comes to us easy. So we're never learning something new, guys. We're just unlearning everything. We're just unlearning everything. Oh, you have bloodstone beside your bed. Awesome. Ariana, which one are you, what are you talking about? What are you wanting to find? I talked about a lot of things. Sorry. Are you talking about a product or a program or a movie? What, just let me know what you're referring to. I'm just now learning acceptance. Yeah, acceptance is, God, I think that's what we're all here to really learn is acceptance. It's not something that comes easy. And I don't ever portray it to be easy. Acceptance is not easy. It's the most challenging thing that we will do, because again, we think that acceptance means that we're in agreement with something, right? That we agree. And that is the programming that we have to break, is that acceptance is not agreement. Acceptance is just saying, this is what it is. I don't agree with it. I choose different, and it's such a powerful thing when we really give our mind, when we really allow ourselves. Oh, greetings from Turkey. You're a psychologist. Perfect. Awesome. So you're out there helping people in the world as well. That's amazing. Acceptance is so hard. It can be. Oh, the product I promote, it's called Black Oxygen Organics. If you're on TikTok, there's a link in my bio, but I can drop a link to it right here and you guys can look at it. It's a mineral supplement, and it is 100% from the earth. There is no processing or additives at all, nothing. It's the most purest form you're going to be able to get. So I'll drop a link right now for you guys. And it has prebiotics, probiotics, electrolytes, fulvic acid, humeric acid. It helps with removing heavy metals. It helps repair your gut lining. It helps clean out your organs. It helps alkaline your body. And that's why I was drawn to it, because I was doing Salt Soleil, which is something I've promoted heavily on TikTok. Salt Soleil is an amazing thing, but I still was fighting with severe adrenal fatigue. And the Salt Soleil was not really helping with that in the way that I wanted it to. And I was just taking the minerals from the Salt Soleil. Salt Soleil was just simply minerals. This has so much more. And so I tried it. It has to come to me organically 3 times for me to try anything. It's just my weird little quirk. And so I was like, oh, I'll give it a try. And I had a huge lactic acid release, for those of you who have followed my story about how much I was holding lactic acid in my body. And when that happens, on top of having adrenal fatigue, it would take me hours to get out of bed. I would feel like I was hit by a truck. My body would have to be sore. I was just exhausted from having abundance of lactic acid and adrenal fatigue. And so I said, if this really works, right, my next lactic acid dump that my bones do, I'll know if it works because I'll be able to get up in the morning. And I had 4 days into taking it, I had a lactic acid release from my bones, and I could feel it when it releases. It's not very comfortable. And the next day I was able to get up right away. I didn't have to fight with myself for 3 hours because my body hurt so bad. And right then I knew it worked. And I was like, wow. So I've been working on over a year healing my severe adrenal fatigue, because severe adrenal fatigue can take years to heal, by changing my diet, no more stress, barely, just really focusing on more rest and play than work. And it was still going really slow. And this one product got rid of most of my supplements and just changed my life for me. So I'm a huge advocate for this product. Sorry, that was a little side spiel, but if anybody is and there are products like it on the market that you can get from Asian markets that you can get. Most of it's derived from charcoal, though. It's not the same. This is literally peat bogged from the earth and flash frozen. There's nothing else to it. It's the most purest form. Hi, Sonia. Yeah, the electrolytes are huge anywhere, but especially when you're in the dry heat. So this is a product that I just love, absolutely. Alexis, you've been taking it too? It's said to be used in it. And it was said to be used in it. It came to you in a lucid dream. Someone's asking what kind of shift will happen on the 22nd of August. There's a lot. So remember this. I'm not going to give you my prediction on this, and I've really been guided not to. So that's why I'm not going to. In the past, I have given predictions, but here's the thing. When we talk about predictions and what people are predicting, I want you guys to remember a couple of things, even with me. Okay. Even with me, like I'm not immune to this. And this is for any psychic medium, anybody who's out there giving predictions in the world. One, everybody receives the same information from the same one source, okay? The thing that makes it different is we receive that information through our own filtration system. That filtration system is made of our beliefs. It's made of our own experience and how open we are. There's a lot of times I get information that go against my beliefs, and I have to really work through that and process that before I'm able to share it with anybody. Because if I'm not embodied in it, I shouldn't be sharing it. So there's that aspect. But two, the other big thing is right now, and this is why I've gone back to doing energy updates every week instead of monthly, is because we are processing information so fast right now. Remember, I told you over 1,000 hours of information are being processed per hour by us now, and that's light. That the timelines and the potentials are changing so quickly. So when we talk about August 22nd, yes, there is a potential timeline. So when I give someone a psychic reading, what I'm doing is looking at their potential timelines and saying, which ones are bigger and more likely have more weight? Which ones are they leaning towards? And then say the next day, you have a complete change of heart and go the opposite way. Well, that's no longer going to be accurate for you. You're going to have manifested something different, because every decision you make, every thought you attach to becomes true, and then now has to build a whole entire reality and shift. And most of the time, these are subtle shifts. So your timeline kind of goes like this, right? Kind of goes back and forth. Sometimes we have I had a few times in my life a complete and utter 180 shift, and I had to watch my whole reality break down and grieve it because a whole new one was being built, because in 1 second I changed my mind and was like, nope, I'm no longer doing that. And I was like, I could feel it. And now I had to watch the complete destruction of everything so that the new thing could be built. So the reason why I won't give those types of predictions anymore is because the collective world the majority of the collective has to agree for things to go faster, has to collectively agree to be ready to make these kind of shifts that come on what's being predicted for August 22nd. And so last year in 2020, there was about 3 times when I had this deep knowing and vision of something going down and something shifting in the government. And it was like this volcano pressurizing. I could feel it coming. I could feel it coming. I know you guys can feel something coming. Something is coming. But what that is going to be dependent upon all of us. And so it is super important that you guys not fight with what's happening in the world and not try to prove and not try to do all those things, and instead accept and say, I don't agree to this. I choose different, and I'm going to go and be that difference. I'm going to go and be that change, because that is, if I give my attention to that, that's what's going to be. That's what's going to come. So it's very important for us to have that recognition, but to know that last year when those 3 times came, every time I was let down because everyone changed their mind at the last second. Collectively, I don't think the world was ready. So it's going to depend if the world's ready, if that's going to happen. What I can tell you about August 22nd is that we are going to start a new movie, if you will. A new chapter is going to be starting. What that looks like will be determined. And it very much will be a continuation of what's already been happening. But I think the true meaning behind this new movie is that there's too much light on the planet for the darkness to be hidden anymore. There's nowhere for them to hide. There's nowhere for them to backdoor. There's nowhere for them to manipulate. It all is going to be, whatever they do is going to be exposed. And that is going to be the greatest gift that we have with this new movie that starts on August 22nd, is that everything is going to be exposed. Everything's going to be exposed. And we are either going to accept responsibility and say, this is what it is, or we're either going to accept it and choose different and not go along with it, or you're going to fight with it and fight against it and make it bigger. Because again, When you're fighting with something, you're feeding it energy. When you're accepting something, you're allowing it to move through quickly. Very different energies. They would be the dark, what people call the dark, the deep state, the elite, especially in the United States, because the people forget that United States is actually a corporation. United States is a corporation. And it's owned by a very elite few families who also own the media conglomerations, who also own the oil industry, who also own the banking industry. And so there's a lot of people that are part of that corporation that are the ones that are controlling everything. And those are what people label or judge as dark. It's not about political sides. It really isn't. And even those families have ties in other countries. Those families have ties in the UK and other countries. So it really is a world issue. But I shared a post of a bunch of fish coming together and being bigger than the shark. And when people realize that when we all come together in unity and decide that we're going to choose differently and we're not going to go along with what we're being told, that's when everything shifts. It doesn't mean we have to have a revolution. It doesn't mean we have to go to war. It doesn't mean we have to fight and go, it means that we have to collectively choose that we're not going to listen to those few anymore, that we're going to choose what's right for us. And what they're saying may be right for you. That's not for me to decide. Whatever you choose to do is what you believe at that moment is right for you. And nobody should judge you for that. Nobody should judge for that. Just way you shouldn't judge someone else for choosing for themselves. That's what freedom is. If we want freedom, we have to remember that means that we each get to make a different decision. And we should be supported in that decision. So it's about having that freedom. And the elite few don't want freedom. They want monopoly. They want control. They want to decide for you. Yeah, it's going to get exposed. So what's going to happen on the 22nd? More exposure. And for some, it's going to scare them. It's going to be shocking to them because they've been in denial. They've been living behind the curtain. They haven't been wanting to see, But we're not seeing anything new, you guys. This shit's been going on. It's not new. It's just the first time we're seeing it. And, for those of you that who know the 4 frequencies, who have learned a little bit of my modality, the purification process, that number 1 is I see you. It's exposure. It's taking responsibility for yourself and exposing yourself or the world exposing it to you. The second one is I hear you. I hear you. When somebody is vulnerable and exposed, the most healing thing we can do is hear them. To hear them. Not to be in our head coming up with a comeback or being in our head judging, to just hear them. I'm not going to go through the other ones, but those 2 is a good place to start. I have no details on what. Can I be your stepmom? You guys are funny. I'm not Buddhist, but I have had many lives in the Buddha collective. I have a lot of Buddha energy in me, but I'm not a Buddhist. I don't align myself with one religion or spiritual anything. I'm just open to the highest and best, to that I am you and you are me, and we are all one, expressing it through a different lens. That's it. Is magnesium good for releasing lactic acid? Magnesium and potassium. So for me, lactic acid buildup, most people don't understand the lactic acid buildup, and the Western medicine has not caught up to the energetics of healing the way that I understand it, because I'm also a medical medium. I don't practice my medical mediumship on other people. I use it for my own purposes. my own healing. But my lactic acid was from bracing for impact for a very long time, most of my life, to be honest. But more recently, from 2013 that started, but really 2015 to about 2019, I really braced for impact. That means I was really sensing, I had poor boundaries. I was really sensing what was coming. I was sensing everyone else's heaviness. I was taking on everyone else's emotions and frazzledness. So I was still struggling with anxiety, and I was taking on everybody's moods, and I was taking on everyone's heaviness. I was gaining a lot of weight because I was of all that toxicity of taking on everyone else's bullshit and toxic emotions. And because of that, when I was around people or I was just in my everyday life, my legs would be locked. I would be holding tension in my jaw or my body. And anytime you hold tension in your body, your bones develop what's called lactic acid. And most people only know lactic acid from like weight training and doing too much weight training. Remember, holding too much weight. So if you're holding too much density in your body, you're holding onto your own issues and everyone else's. You're holding yourself back. You're waiting instead of making the decision or choosing you or choosing anything. Anytime you're waiting, holding, repressing, your bones begin to build lactic acid. And once it gets to a certain point, your bones have to release that lactic acid. And when it releases, it can make you feel super exhausted. It can make you feel like you've been hit by a truck or you've been in an accident, or your body's kind of sore and you just are lethargic. You can still be inspired in your mind. You can still be creative. You can still have all these ideas. You can still want to do things. You just literally have no energy and your body hurts. And so that's how before I found Black Oxygen Organics, I was drinking Salt Soleil, which is a wonderful place to start if you're new to minerals. I still take excessive magnesium. So on top of the boo, one of the supplements I still take is magnesium with zinc. But I was eating a lot of organic potatoes. I was eating a lot of things that were rich in potassium. So potatoes are rich in potassium. I was eating a lot of spinach, which is rich in magnesium. Dark chocolate has magnesium. I was eating a lot of foods, and it still wasn't enough to heal it. So I completely went and took responsibility and changed my diet completely. I changed my lifestyle completely, and it allowed me to function and to begin to heal. The Black Oxygen Organics accelerated that by about 75%. I mean, it really shifted and made everything better. So I don't take Salt Soleil anymore. I just take the Black Oxygen Organics. But yes, magnesium, potassium will move lactic acid. But the other thing is this is why if you are someone who identifies as an empath, which almost everybody is empathic, there is a few that aren't empathic, but majority of people, I always see people, I'm a natural born empath, or I'm a natural born psychic or medium. You all are natural born everything. You all have the gifts. You all are everything. Nobody is special. We're just not. We just do things all differently. That's it. So if you're somebody who is aware of their empathicness, you should be taking a good magnesium. And if you go to my Amazon store in my bio for TikTok, you guys, I can drop a link to that. But I have listed all the products, the supplements that I take. You want to take a magnesium, whether you find mine or another one. You want to make sure they're pure encapsulated. You want to make sure they don't have any added ingredients. There's no vegetable oil in it. Most of the stuff you buy over the counter at Walmart or CVS or even GNC are diluted. So I buy the most purest potency and the most purest encapsulation and the things that aren't synthetic because your body is not going to recognize synthetic stuff as well as it's going to utilize pure things. And vegetable oils, anything besides basically avocado oil or extra virgin olive oil it should be limited in your diet. Like my body can't even process vegetable oil, corn oil, sunflower oil. It's those things are so toxic to our bodies, like ridiculous. So they fill a lot of our supplements with those ingredients. And I actually have had a lot of people in this profession, in the profession of the medical industry, validate that for me, that the vitamins and supplements that you get over the counter are like a quarter of the potency. So really do your research. And this is why I share the products that I use, because I have gone through massive trial and error on my supplements. So if I share a supplement, you know that it's good and that it's worked for me at least. The full moon is on, the full moon is on Sunday, the 22nd as well. It is in Aquarius. It's the second one in Aquarius. This is a very potent full moon. But it's just one. The full moon, all the full moon is doing is why it's so, the full moons are so potent, is because the moon is a mirror for the sun. So when they're fully exposed, right, that's when when everything's coming up. Because when we have a new moon, right, it's not being reflected. So we're going more inward. But when we're in a full moon, everything that's inside of us is really being mirrored outside of us as well. It's really trying to make itself seen. So that's why the moons have an effect. Not only that, but the full moon also rises the tides. We're over 60% water. So whatever's inside of us is brought up to the surface. The tide inside of us rises. Right? So those are really the only two things that you guys ever need to focus on about the moon. Everything else is going to be about just the energy of everything, right? The planets and the moons, all those are markers. All those are bringing in alignments of things that we need to work on in that moment, individually and collectively, right? That's why linear time is not real. Time is a concept that the humans created, but all time is a marker for experience, right? Past, present, they don't exist. The only thing that exists is what's right now. But time allows us to have markers of when experiences happen. That's it. Yeah, it's the same thing. The dirt was always exposed. The puzzle pieces were always there. We're just turning the light up more. So when I talk about the new base frequency, which you probably missed in the beginning, the new base frequency that we all are in, and the next one that we're about to go into, that's all it's doing is turning the dimmer switch up brighter and brighter. So you're going to see the dirt that was always there. It's just now exposed. I actually do know people who had fibromyalgia, Wendy, that it has worked for them. I didn't have fibromyalgia myself. I'm not a practicing Buddhist, no. But I do use Buddha teachings, but I'm not a practicing Buddhist. As an RN, supplements are needed if you are deficient, which is determined by lab values. And I'm not going to disagree with you, but what I'm going to tell you, and something that I have had confirmed by many doctors and nurses that I know and have worked with, is that you guys are only knowing what you've been taught and what your science is capable of. And energy is so much more than that. And so I spent 7 years fighting with many doctors and many nurses and many labs because they said I didn't have adrenal fatigue. They said that I didn't have gut problems. They said I didn't have lactic acid issues. They said I didn't have thyroid issues because my lab results were in range, but they weren't in range for me. And what they didn't understand was I was already experiencing something before it had fully manifested to where my blood could show results of that. And that's the importance of the work that I do, is that I can read the energy. And when you can learn to read, and why I'm teaching this in the energy matrix, when you can learn to read your own energy and read your own body, this is why you have to be your own medical advocate. There is a place for Western medicine, absolutely. And the doctors are helpful. Nurses are warriors. We need you. But the lab is not everything. And science is not everything. Science is only taking what's unknown and making it known. And there was a time when it was scientifically proven that smoking wasn't bad and that cocaine was okay to be used in Coca-Cola. So when we understand that science isn't everything, and lab results can only measure what it's known to measure. It's not, science evolves through trial and error. And sometimes when we let go of the physical and we just tune into the energy, we can understand that. And the doctor that I have now has flat out told me, I don't know what I don't know, because I can only use my intuition and what I've been taught in the books of my medical training. And it was her intuition and me coming to her saying, this is what I'm sensing in my body, that saved my own cancer. Because I was intuitively feeling something's not right. And she took some tests and she's like, the tests are showing nothing's wrong, but my gut is telling me that something's not right. And in surgery, they found the cancer cells. So I wouldn't have had that had she not trusted her gut over those damn lab tests. And the biggest deficiency that we all face today is our mineral deficiency. And the reason why is because our food is highly processed. It has red and yellow dyes. It has all these chemicals. It has all these oils. And those deplete our body. And our water is poisoned with crap in the central systems. And if we're drinking filtered water, the minerals are removed from most filtered waters. It's reverse osmosis. So our bodies are not getting the minerals that we need. Mineral deficiency means you're not absorbing the nutrients that you need, the chemicals in your processed foods. Even the quote unquote gluten-free healthy foods are highly processed. Anything boxed, frozen, canned, you got to read the ingredients. And those processed chemicals clog our liver. They clog our kidneys, which then affects our adrenals, which then affects our thyroid, which then throws our chemicals all off balance and creates a train wreck. And one thing actually had a train of 50 other things. So the doctors are treating what's manifested and not treating the actual cause. No one out there is promoting having healthy immune system. Nobody's promoting, let's grow healthy food. Let's make our foods more organic. Let's make the farmers go organic. Let's promote healthy vitamins and minerals. Let's promote farmers markets. Let's make healthier food cheaper. You don't see anybody doing that. You see people wanting to put more shit in your body, more chemicals. I don't see how that's a win. But that's my personal opinion. So there is a place for you beautiful healthcare workers. And I applaud you because your job is not easy. And I'm so grateful for you. But the lab results are not the end all be all. And this is why in the energy matrix, I'm teaching you how to read your damn body and read your own energy. Because I know a lot of people want to come to me because they want to open their gifts and they want to go help the world. But if you can't help yourself first, you can't help the damn world. Right? Same way the airlines tell you put your mask on first. Because if you're worried about putting someone else's mask on, you're going to suffocate. But if you just put yours on, now you can help so many more people. So you have to start with you. This is why it's for you. First goes to you, then them, which helps the world. For me, for you, for us. You got to start with yourself. It's not selfish. You're not selfish to put yourself first. You have to learn to read your own body first. You have to learn to read your own energy first. Then and only then can you truly help another person. Sonia says the water here in Arizona is terrible. We have to drink bottled or filtered. Yeah, me too. My toilets, you guys, get black. My sink gets black just from running the water that I pay for. So my shower head has a filter on it so that I'm not getting all that crap on my hair and body. When I take a bath, I put baking soda in my bath water so that it neutralizes all the toxins and chemicals that they put in, the bleach. And I have a water machine right behind me. But I also take the Boo. And before that, I took Salt Soleil so that I was getting the minerals because I was deficient in minerals. So I was pure vegan for years and I wasn't getting any nutrients because my gut was not taking the nutrients in because my gut lining was so messed up. It's crazy. This just goes on and on, right? So we got to focus on what can I do? Where is my power? And so increasing your immune system, not living in fear. Fear weakens your immune system. And the opposite of fear is acceptance. Accept what is, choose differently, be different. Mine was an iron deficiency and they found colon cancer. That sucks. I'm sorry that you went through that. And I'm glad you found something that helped you. What is the actual cause? Bad crystals. What do you mean? What's the actual cause of what? Okay. Ooh, we've been on for an hour. All right. You guys have any other questions while you have me? And I hope this video was helpful. If it was, give it a share. If you guys are on TikTok and you want to replay it, it's on YouTube. You can check my link in bio and subscribe. The energies are we're gonna have a new base frequency again soon. So everything's just gonna increase. And every time we have an increase, we're gonna have to integrate. We'll have a little plateau and we'll be integrating, and then we'll increase again. And this will continue. Ariana, yes. It's not going to be the same remedy for each person. There's many different reasons why we have issues with our insulin. So it's not going to be the same for each person. So it's not something I feel comfortable giving a broad energetic approach. I'm glad you're good now, Wendy. I'm really glad. That's amazing. Metformin is not anything that that's one thing I feel very comfortable saying. Metformin is not something that I would take long-term at all. Metformin is really, really hard on your organs. That doesn't mean you need to take my advice and jump off of it. It means you need to focus on changing your diet and changing your lifestyle. Remember, prescription drugs are meant to be a Band-Aid while you get your shit together. They're not meant to be the end all be all. The answer is never putting more chemicals in your body. It's always coming back to earth, back to holistic health, back to changing your lifestyle. If this was helpful for you, you guys, give it a share it with someone you love or someone you think that would resonate with it. If you're called to the energy matrix, I'm going to drop a link in the comments below right here. There's also a link in the bio on TikTok. There's only days left for this for you guys to enroll, and people have asked me if I'm going to do it again, and I doubt it, especially running it live again. I rarely run anything live twice. So if you're feeling called, don't wait. Find a way, make it happen, because these are going to be the fundamental tools that are going to help you sustain New Earth. And I don't know about you, but I know that I want to stay in New Earth. Like I personally don't want to stay in the heaviness and the density and the fight. I want to be able to see what's happening without attachment, without judgment, and be at peace and in love with my life and know that I trust myself enough to handle whatever shows up in front of me. Because again, what you give your attention to becomes true, and where we're going is about being in our sovereignty, literally leading ourselves. We are here to learn to lead ourselves. We don't need someone else to lead us. You don't need me to lead you. I'm leading you back to the shore of your own truth. My job is to lead you back to the sovereignty that's in you, even if we have differing opinions, even if we have different beliefs. That's okay. I have lots of clients that have different beliefs than me. My job is to teach you how to trust yourself and to lead yourself and to not be reliant on anything outside of you, to know that whatever happens, whether you're homeless or the wealthiest person on the planet, that you will be able to handle and trust and know that whatever comes your way, you will be okay. So that you're not worrying, so you're not in the future, so you're not living in uncertainty, so you're not living in fear, so that you can be present, so that you can have that awareness and you can choose what's right for you in any given moment. And that power only lives in the present. That power only lives when you trust yourself and you are allowing yourself to be in the moment. So whether you learn that through me in the energy matrix or somewhere else, that needs to be your guys' priority. Learning to feel safe inside of you, learning to read your own energy, reading your body, trusting yourself. Had I not trusted myself over all of those doctors, I would be in really bad shape right now. So it's always about being your own advocate. So thank you guys all for joining. It's been an amazing time. And I'll be back Monday with a new energy update. So look forward to that. And I will see you next time. Bye for now.